Hello. Is that coming through? Awesome. Hi there, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for turning up. I'm Alex. I'm a product manager at MetaMask, and I'll be joined by my colleague Daniel, who's a staff engineer at MetaMask as well, in a second. And we're going to be talking to you today about MetaMask Snaps and the future of Web3 accounts. So first of all, let's just establish where MetaMask is. We're extremely proud of the scale that we've managed to achieve. To put this into context, more people used MetaMask last month than about 3 times the population of Paris, and we had 100 million users last year as well. Of course, these are like big headline-grabbing figures, but we'd have only been able to achieve this scale by being a part of the ecosystem that we're currently in right now. With all these builders that are in Paris this week, if you made a dApp that's integrated to MetaMask, if you'd looked at our open source code online, filed a bug report, or you've got in touch with our team, cajoled someone like myself after we've spoken and complained about MetaMask, you've shown us a bug on your phone, for example, we've taken that, we've iterated the product, you've been part of that growth. Now, I remember coming to these types of conferences like 5, 10 years ago, and this sort of scale was only sort of imagination, right? But we've now achieved that, and everyone in this room, everyone in Paris this week, everyone at home is partly responsible for that. So we should all be extremely, extremely proud. But we want to get even bigger as a community, right? You're going to hear a question such as this a lot this week at Paris. I'm talking on the last day, so probably like a question like this is probably a little bit tiring at this stage. But how can we really scale to 1 billion people? Well, again, that's by working together as a community. MetaMask is just but one product in the ecosystem, and we're here today to try and get you involved in terms of getting MetaMask to the next level. Because there's a lot of people working on protocols here, various parts of the infrastructure. If you're an Ethereum core dev, you've done an amazing job switching Ethereum to proof of stake and helping to scale Ethereum as well. But at MetaMask, of course, we exist a couple of layers up the stack, at the wallet level, at the UI level. Of course, we're incredibly familiar with the problems that our users have. And again, it's becoming a little bit cliched at the moment, but we have this thing called a secret recovery phrase. It's 12 words that every single user has when they onboards to MetaMask, and we say, write this down on a piece of paper, never forget it. If you lose it, you're going to lose all your assets. We're all aware of this huge problem. It's a prime phishing vector, and it's just really confusing to use, right, for a lot of people. Now, when we think about how to solve this problem, though, at MetaMask, we're going about this in a very different way, potentially to other wallets. If we take a foundational concept from product management, we're here, right, on the left-hand side. We're at this far end of this graph. We could do some small iterations on this secret recovery phrase. We could do some encrypted backup, shove that in Google Drive. We could split the key in some ways. But that's still a little bit difficult for us to do. It's going to take time. And that's going to take time and precious resources around what we really need is a technological paradigm shift to get to a global maximum. We don't just want to end up spending a load of work spinning the wheels to get to this local maximum over here. And when I talk about a paradigm shifting technology, what I'm talking about is, say, how touchscreens came to smartphones, right? Now we all have smartphones in this room. Social media timelines, now basically everyone in the world uses social media. Large language models powering the AI revolution that we're now a part of, and Ethereum switching to proof of stake. Now, there isn't some big reveal in this presentation in terms of what that paradigm shifting technology is, but we're going to talk about how we're actually going to try and solve this problem at MetaMask. And we're going to do this by sticking to the principles that have made MetaMask successful to date. We're 100% self-custodial, we're open source, we're free to use. But more importantly, we're going to go about solving problems like this by harnessing the innovation of Web3, by harnessing the innovation of all the developers in the room right now. So you can help us complete that paradigm shift. So there's 3 ways to build with MetaMask. So you're probably all familiar with the dApp API. If you're not familiar with the actual APIs yourself, you probably use this. If you've gone to Uniswap, you've connected a MetaMask account, you submitted a transaction via a dApp, you use that dApp API. This year, MetaMask has also launched the software development kit, which is now in beta, and this brings MetaMask to more platforms than ever before, those platforms that don't have a browser. It's in JavaScript, iOS, Unity, which is incredible for game developers, and Android is coming soon. The SDK isn't the purpose of this presentation, but if you want to learn more, go to docs.metamask.io. The main point of this presentation, though, is about MetaMask Snaps. This is what it looks like when you install a snap into MetaMask today. What these are is a way to extend MetaMask. They're trustless execution environments running inside of MetaMask. They have 0 permissions by default. As you can see here, this snap is requesting access to allow websites to communicate directly with the snap and also then display dialog windows inside MetaMask as well. And a Snap can have its own API methods. It can use as many of the methods as you want in MetaMask and can even use Snap exclusive methods as well. This means the wallet is now the platform. This means it's not just developers and product managers at MetaMask that are now going to be able to push the wallet forward. It's developers in the room such as you who potentially exist outside the consensus umbrella. Snaps are available today in our Flask build, which is our Canary beta build, so you can actually start to experiment with them now. MetaMask.io/Flask, and the logo that we use for Flask is that the purple fox in the bottom right-hand corner. What can you do with Snaps? Well, if you have an idea in terms of how to improve the wallet, I can tell you now you can use our existing Snap APIs to at least get together a proof of concept. But if you have more ideas for APIs you think can actually help your product to extend MetaMask in the way you want, please get in touch with us because we want to find out your requirements and build that API for you. So let's show a brief demo of a Snap in action. So you're probably aware of Starknet. It's an Ethereum layer 2, but it isn't EVM compatible due to a different public address schema. What we're doing here is we're using MetaMask Flask to deploy a smart contract on behalf of the user, and then using Flask and the Snap that's installed in there, we're then submitting a transaction on a non-EVM chain. So MetaMask has historically been an Ethereum-only wallet using the L2s, but now we're extending MetaMask beyond that. This is Starknet, but we also have a Snap for Bitcoin as well. This is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the innovation possible with Snaps that are available for you. Going forward, though, let's talk about how Snaps are distributed. So first of all, you can publish a Snap to NPM. You deploy a dApp to invite users to install your Snap. And then when a dApp has a button that says connect to Snap or whatever you choose, that invokes the Snap, and MetaMask will prompt users to install that Snap. If you have installed some Snaps inside MetaMask, you see a settings list such as this. You have a Filecoin Snap installed, and also then that Starknet Snap that I just showed you. A user can disable them and uninstall them as well. And then other dApps can use that Snaps as well. But what's next? If you've been to any MetaMask presentation over the last probably like 12 to 18 months, you've probably heard something about Snaps. But this year is going to be slightly different. Snaps are not just going to exist in Flask. They're coming to MetaMask extension this year. So now has never been a better time to engage with the Snap developer docs, start working on your Snap so you can launch these in MetaMask extension and get your Snap in front of millions of users worldwide. But that's not all. We're serious about this Snaps thing. We've got a huge team working on Snaps, and Snaps are also coming to mobile as well. It's pretty early stage on mobile, but this is what it's going to roughly look like when you connect to Snap. This is using an internal threshold signing Snap. So you can see we're using the action sheets on mobile here to install the Snap, very similar to what you saw in extension. Let's see this in action. All right, once this loads, so we're loading up the iOS test flight version of MetaMask Flask. We're going to the in-app browser on MetaMask Mobile. We're going to the dApp that this threshold signing signature Snap is invoked from. My colleague Owen is setting up a threshold party here. Then he's going to Telegram. He's sending me the link for me to also join this. And then I'm taking that link, I'm putting it into the browser inside MetaMask Mobile. I'm joining the key generation round. If you're familiar with multi-party computation cryptography, this is what's going on behind the scenes here. I'm saving that key share, importantly, to the Snap that's installed to MetaMask Mobile, using the managed state API. And then Owen is going to ask me to sign a message. We set up a 2 of 2 here. And so he needs both himself and me to sign this message. I'm copying that link, going back into MetaMask Mobile, and then approving this message. OK, so this is really early stage, right? We're not going to be launching this anytime soon, but this is just a proof of concept, a demo, a prototype to show you what could be possible in MetaMask Mobile and Snaps in general. So this week, we are launching the Mobile Snaps beta program. If you scan that QR code and you put in your email address, you can then get added to the iOS test flight version and then also the Android beta as well. I'll keep this up on the stage for now. You can also go to metamask.io/snaps if you don't want to scan the QR code, tinyurl.com/snaps-guide. I'll also display that link at the end as well. And also come and talk to me afterwards if you want to learn more. So that's going to bring permissionless innovation to 100 million people and counting. But what does this mean for accounts? I started off this presentation by sort of talking about this problem we have, the secret recovery phrase. I then went on a little bit of a tangent, spoke about Snaps and permissionless innovation. But let's talk about how snaps are going to help solve that problem with accounts. So this week as well, MetaMask, we are launching a set of new account snap APIs. What that's going to allow, if you have an idea for account abstraction, multi-party compute, you have some new cool hardware wallet that you'd previously get in touch with our team and be like, sorry, we can't integrate this, we don't have enough resources, you can do this yourself in a permissionless way. So here we have a button at the bottom of the account list that says add snap account. This language may change by the time we actually take this to production, but what this is going to allow is a user to click this button, take them to a grid such as this, and then your snap can appear here. They can install that into MetaMask, and then what that will do, it will then actually add your account into the account list. As you can see here, this little label says this is powered by a Snaps. This is very similar to how you add a hardware wallet into MetaMask today. Okay, so to go over these APIs in more detail, I'll hand over to Daniel.
Hi everyone, so I'm Daniel. I'm a software engineer at MetaMask, and I'm going to give you a quick introduction on those APIs. So if you have used Snaps on MetaMask until now, Snaps that add accounts to MetaMask, they actually don't add to MetaMask. Because the accounts are only visible on the Snap UI, and it cannot be directly used by dApps. So this is going to change. We are introducing a new set of APIs that are going to allow developers to seamlessly integrate with MetaMask. So I would like to start with this quick demo to see what is possible to achieve with those new APIs. So here is the Snap UI, and as you can see, we only have the default account in MetaMask, but we are going to create a new account using this Snap. So it's up to the developers to decide how the account is going to be created, what information they need. It can be, for example, an NPC account, and you can define the thresholds, for example. So I just created the account, and now you can see the account in MetaMask, and you can actually select it. So after you select this, after you have this account in MetaMask, you can actually use it in any dApp. You can just go to any dApp you want to use, connect to your MetaMask, select the account that was created using this Snap. And here we are going to give a quick example on how to sign something. So this is any a test dApp, and we just want to show that you can actually use this account. We can sign taped data as well, and actually everything that's supported by MetaMask is also supported by Snaps. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so those APIs, they are now available on GitHub, so you can check the queuing API if you want to learn a bit more on how to create your own Snap that can integrate like this into MetaMask. And there's also the example queuing Snap that we just saw. And yeah, this is actually the future of accounts on MetaMask. We strongly believe that by extending this capability to external developers, we are going to be able to support any future type of account. So this, for example, can be used for MPC, for example, account abstraction as well, and even for non-EVM accounts. So there's Bitcoin Snap that exists today. It's not using this API for now, but in the future, it can use this API, so we would be capable of seeing Bitcoin addresses in MetaMask. So this is just a quick overview of how this API works. So it's quite simple. So when you develop a new Snap, this Snap is going to register the new accounts into MetaMask. So the user is going to be able to select them in MetaMask interface. And once this account is created, the user can just go to any dApp and select this account, connect to this account. And when the dApp submits the request to MetaMask, the request is going to be forwarded to the Snap. And then it's up to the Snap developer to decide how the request is going to be treated, signed, or anything. So for example, for signing a simple transaction, the Snap can take extra steps. For example, it can be asking the user for a second factor authentication. It could be doing an MPC. It's really up to the developer to decide how this is going to be done. And then once the snap has the answer, the response to return to MetaMask, MetaMask is only going to pass the response to the dApp. And if there's something to be broadcasted, MetaMask is going to do this for the snap as well. So we think that this API is going to allow developers to extend MetaMask. And we are also going to release a new version of this API because right now this API only supports UA accounts, but we are going to add support for account abstraction as well. So if you want to add a snap to MetaMask that allows the user to create smart contract accounts, this is going to be possible in a release this year. So yeah.
Cool, awesome, thanks Daniel. Let's just get this back to full screen. Alrighty, so again, you've probably heard a lot about account abstraction if you've been to any Ethereum conference over the last 6 to 12 months. Just on a super high level, right, you've got two different types of accounts on Ethereum. The externally owned account, it's the signing account that's controlled by a private key and can originate transactions. Smart contract accounts, though, controlled by code, they cannot originate transactions, but they can execute code, so you can do cool things like multi-sigs, like a Genosis safe, for example. Now, the promise of account abstraction, which has been since Ethereum's inception, is basically merge the benefits of both types of accounts together. There's been various propositions for protocol upgrades over the years, but because of the switch to proof of stake, scaling, those are taking a long time. But importantly, again, you've probably seen this diagram this week. Go to a better technical deep dive on this talk if you've got time for the main of this week, if you hadn't heard of this already. But this is the Ethereum request for comment 4337, not an Ethereum improvement proposal, which essentially allows smart contracts to submit user operations to a secondary mempool. A bundler, which effectively acts like an EOA, will then package those user ops together, which can contain all manner of different smart contract operations, bundle these transactions, and then submit them to the Ethereum blockchain. Now, MetaMask becomes like a bit of a whipping horse sometimes because of the scale that we have and because it's mainly EOAs inside MetaMask today. But that is going to change with the launch of these APIs. So here, I'm going to be demoing an internal proof of concept called the Delegator ERC4337 smart account. And that word delegator will become apparent and very important as I take you through this demo. So you have a dApp that says Create Smart Account. If a user goes to this and then clicks this button, what this is then doing, so let me just show you that this MetaMask instance just has 2 accounts at this moment in time in the account list. By clicking that button, what is actually going to happen on the back end is we're packaging those user operations, we're submitting to the bundler, deploying a smart contract, and then that smart contract account is then going to appear inside MetaMask. So previously, MetaMask was just an EOA account. And a lot of people this week have been like, MetaMask isn't doing smart contracts. Well, there you go. There's a smart contract account right in the account list of MetaMask. But let's talk about that word delegator as well. What we're using is our delegatable framework to actually delegate 100 trust tokens to the user once they've clicked on that link. So let's fast forward and show those trust tokens inside MetaMask. We have to import them. But there you go. So what you saw here is a completely frictionless onboarding experience, which requires the user to sign nothing by using account abstraction and our delegatable framework. If you want to learn more about Delegatable, head to delegatable.org. Watch Dan Finlay's presentation at ETH Denver a couple of months ago, because counterfactual delegations are incredible. If you would have watched that demo and you're familiar with ERC 4337, you may have thought, hang on a second, that transaction took a long time. But by keeping those delegations off-chain and then invoking them at a later date, that could be instant and also have privacy-enhancing potential as well, because it's not actually going on-chain at a later date. That can allow things such as counterfactual NFTs that you send to a friend, but then you can pay the gas on behalf of that participant when they actually decide to mint that NFT at a later date. Alrighty. Let's finish this off with some key takeaways. So, Snaps allows anyone to add new features to MetaMask in a way that is secure, decentralized, and keeps users in control. You own your Snap, you can operate it however you want. And now is the time to build Snaps so you can be ready for our launch to MetaMask extension this year. And Snaps are also coming to mobile too. We're incredibly invested in Snaps, and we want you to be too. And lastly, this week we're launching the Snap Keyring APIs, which enable you to bring your own account experience to MetaMask. It's going to be in the next build of Flask, which will be published on the stores roughly next week. You can go to the GitHub links now, start building your Snap, and get them into Flask, and again, get them ready for the public launch to extension this year. So here are some resources to get you started. We covered a lot of ground. So check out Snaps, metamask.io/snaps. Install Flask, follow the guide by my colleague Christian, tinyurl.com/snaps-guide. Sign up to the mobile Snaps beta, tinyurl.com/mobile-snaps-beta. The Snap Keyrings API, go to MetaMask GitHub/Keyring API. If you want to learn more about counterfactual delegations, head to delegatable.org. We'd love to talk about that more. And of course, follow MetaMask Dev on Twitter. Lastly, if you want more graphics like this that you saw throughout the presentation, head to learn.metamask.io. Thank you very much. I'm Alex, and this is Daniel. Yeah, I think we have some 5 minutes for questions if anyone's going.
Put your hand up if you have any question.
I tell you, that was a great presentation if there's none. Oh, there is one.
Hey, first of all, it's awesome. And I just wanted to ask that currently in Web3, there are a couple of use cases. One of them where signing on the foreground is like required, and another one, like Lens protocol, for example, where it's kind of not. Is it possible to, for example, expose sign to a different application through an API? So if I have, let's say, an app which does sign-in on my MacBook, but I want to use it through the MetaMask, similar to hardware wallet, but in the background, is it possible to do with Snaps or not?
Yeah. Can you repeat the last part again? Because about the background part, Snaps cannot run in the background for now.
Yeah.
We are working on this, but what you can do is send the request to the Snap, and then the Snap can take up to a few minutes to process the request. It can also save a state, so you can have a Snap that takes multiple steps to actually complete the signing. So probably a way you could do is you submit your request to the Snap asks the user to continue the process somewhere else, and then when the answer is ready, you can return to the Snap, and the Snap can return the answer to the extension.
I see, and that could be done in the background, right? Without the MetaMask going in the foreground. So I can do that multiple times.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Nice presentation. I think one question I have is around what's the plan for publishing snaps? Like from a security perspective, are you gonna veto that? Do you already have an idea how this will be handled moving forward?
Sure. So the core concept of snaps is to be permissionless in a lot of ways. As we launch this, though, especially for account snaps, right, which can have access to a private key, right, there are going to be some requirements for security audits for MetaMask to get behind said snap and actually push it. So if you saw that list there, that would actually be displayed inside the MetaMask UI, we are asking developers to have completed security audit for the snap, for that to be pushed inside MetaMask. I think every developer in this room will probably get behind that, because we can't be pushing an unsecure account snap to our users, because it would just look bad on the whole community.
But then that will be the requirement moving forward, like having this security audit done on each snap and then MetaMask approved. So there is basically an equivalent app store, let's say Snap Store, that will veto the snaps. So
you can still install a snap via the dApp. We are working on more sort of permissionless distribution ideas. It's a really, really difficult problem to solve. You know, a security audit is just one thing that I think the whole community will just have a flag that's like, okay, this is trusted to some degree, right? No one's selling a hardware wallet nowadays without a security audit. It's like the same thing, right? And you shouldn't buy a hardware wallet if it hasn't been security audited, right? Yeah, this is the early stage, right, as we're rolling this out. There is going to be some permissionless distribution part of this. That's coming in the future, that some of my colleagues are working on. But yeah, the whole idea is to be permissionless. Just as we're rolling this out, there may be a slight thing where you need to get a security audit, but that seems to be understandable in this place.
Thank you.
I have a question on the connection. So, for Snaps, when we connect, are you going to build a cross-bridge chain so that it's not only Ethereum but also alternative chains? And also on the other side, have you think about how we can enhance the the fiat currency conversion? For example, if we try to buy Ethereum using MetaMask, it take a while to link to the bank account and so on and so forth. So how you kind of plan on that end?
Do you want to take it? Should I take it? You can take it. So in terms of you're talking about the cross-chain, right? So in terms of when you saw that Starknet snap, we're deploying a smart contract on behalf of the users so they can interact with it. And different snaps will operate in their own way, right? A lot of the functionality at the moment is actually happening in the dApp, and so it's up for the developer how they actually want to interact with MetaMask and derive some of the security from the private key. I didn't quite get the second half of the question though, in terms of buying fiat currency.
So because I also have a MetaMask account, so when buying, for example, any of the coin, we have to link to our own account. So the way it's kind of linked with a bank account and so on and so forth, it's not real time. A lot of time it goes to bank account, it take a while and come back. So I'm just asking, because you have this mobile application, what's the plan on enhance that conversion between the normal kind of currency to crypto asset?
Sorry, do you mind if we just keep the microphone with her saying? I just need to try and understand the question more. You're talking about the on-ramp part. So if you're using, say, one of our integrations, say MoonPay, for example, and the speed in terms of that happens? Okay, sure, yeah. I think that's slightly for some of our on-ramp partners, but I'm sure a developer could make a snap and make that faster if needs be, but happy to talk after this talk, yeah.
Last question.
First, congratulations for your presentation. Quick question: is it planned to have the possibility to expand and change the UI of MetaMask? Like basically, like we have like a use case like where you have a ERC20 token, but everything is encrypted. But you want to display in MetaMask the amount and the balance, but you need to do special thing to decrypt it. This is something planned at some point.
Sure, so yeah, changing the UI via Snaps is one of our largest requests that we hear from developers. Something I didn't touch on, for example, is say transaction insights. There's a new tab in Flask which changes UI if you've got a certain snap installed that alerts you to if you're interacting with a smart contract. You saw there, we're changing the UI by adding a new account there. In terms of what I sort of understand is some sort of custom asset of some kind that you want to try and display in MetaMask, that's something we've been talking about internally, and we've sort of got plans for that. If you saw that delegatable token that I just showed, that sort of like furthered the conversation somewhat. Yeah, we don't have that API currently in the works right now, but it's certainly on the roadmap at some point.
Thank you for the talk. Great talk.